Dwayne Haskins was recently benched by the Washington football team after his first 4 starts of the 2020 season. Haskins has made 11 starts in his NFL career and has produced mixed results to be kind. He's put up 11 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, a 59.6 completion percentage, 6.6 yards per attempt, 77.8 quarterback rating, and his team's record in those 11 starts is 3-8. Admittedly, I wasn't the biggest Haskins fan coming out of college and even preferred Drew Lock over him, but it can't go without saying that he wasn't really given a fair chance so far in his career. Now Washington has decided to go with the undrafted free agent in 2018, Kyle Allen. Allen started 12 games for Carolina last season after Cam Newton got injured early, and he had his moments of looking good, but some not so good. Overall, he managed to go 5-7 record-wise, 17 touchdowns, 16 interceptions, 6.8 yards per attempt, 62% completion percentage, and an 80 quarterback rating. The turnovers proved to be a bit much, and he was benched later in the year in favor of Will Grier. But once Ron Rivera accepted the head coaching job in Washington, he made the move to acquire Kyle Allen for a 5th-round pick. The move was a bit puzzling, but with the uncertainty of Alex Smith's health and Washington's longtime backup Colt McCoy leaving for New York, it made sense to have insurance just in case. While some people wanted to make the Haskins benching a race issue, the clear and obvious answer was the man making all the decisions for Washington. That, of course, being Ron Rivera. With no actual GM in Washington, not only is Rivera the head coach, but he's in charge of personnel decisions for the time being. As we know, Haskins was drafted by Bruce Allen, but after the ugly 3-13 season last year, Allen was fired. With a complete management overhaul in Washington, there aren't many ties to Haskins, so his former first-round pick title doesn't really matter to them. They're going to play the guy that they think gives them the best chance to win. Not only is it just Ron Rivera, but Kyle Allen has a history with the current Washington offensive coordinator Scott Turner, who also came from Carolina. With Carolina moving their coaching staff up north and essentially running the entire show, the loyalty to Haskins is not going to be there, unless he was playing at a high level, which he definitely was not. A lot of excuses can be made for Haskins. He's had 3 different head coaches in 20 NFL games. Outside of Terry McLaurin, there is no receiver help. He has the least amount of time to throw this year according to Next Gen Stats. His offensive line ranks 23rd in pass protection according to Football Outsiders, and he's only had 4 games to showcase himself in a new system. With all of that being said, I wouldn't be honest with you guys if I told you Dwayne Haskins has been playing well this year. He's had his own mistakes, inaccurate throws, and his deep ball has been atrocious this year. As I went over his film this season, I noticed a crazy amount of inaccurate throws and bad decisions, so I see where Ron Rivera is coming from with this. Will Kyle Allen be much better? I'm not really sure, but it makes sense that they want to play their guy rather than somebody they inherited. Back to Haskins, I admire him for how hard he worked in the offseason, but I remember last year I had some questions about his maturity. There were reports about him not knowing their offensive plays. Adrian Peterson even criticized him after a game for not knowing plays, and then of course there was the taking a selfie with a fan when the game was still going on. Honestly, it's crazy that the guy has not been given a full season, meaning 16 NFL starts, to prove he's the guy in Washington, but at the same time, Ron Rivera has been around football for a long time, so maybe it's fair to trust his judgment. The worst part for Haskins is that he's not even relegated to backup duties. He's now the 3rd-string quarterback on Washington's depth chart behind Kyle Allen and Alex Smith. At this point, it'd be hard to see Haskins starting anytime soon, and even if Allen screws up and is pulled, or even gets hurt like he was in Week 5, then Alex Smith, the proven veteran, is next in line. So to answer the question, is Haskins' career done in Washington? I would say yes. I think Ron Rivera will be there for at least a couple years, and while he's the GM, we can see a scenario where Haskins is traded for a mid-round pick next offseason. Haskins is the type of quarterback that needs a good scheme and stability, just like he had at Ohio State, but chances are he won't get that in Washington. I'm not sure where he'll end up or which teams would want him, but maybe a team like the Atlanta Falcons would take a shot on Haskins if the asking price wasn't too high from Washington. Their backup Matt Schaub is 39 years old, and even Matt Ryan is 35 on an 0-5 team. There is no current stability with Dan Quinn and the Falcons GM recently fired, but maybe the next regime would see interest in the former Ohio State standout. Ryan, based on his contract, should be there until at least 2022, but Haskins, only being 22 years old, has the luxury of time, and sitting behind a former MVP and pocket passer like Matt Ryan would not be the worst situation for him. We will have to wait and see, but I personally never see Haskins excelling in his current location. He definitely got screwed with the coaching overhaul and new regime a year after he was drafted, but the NFL is a cruel league, and some young quarterbacks go to unfortunate situations. Hopefully Haskins finds success elsewhere, but doing it in Washington seems less likely by the day.